Welcome or welcome back to Lift You Up Inspiring Health Stories. I'm your host, Tamika Bickham. I'm the founder and chief storyteller of TB Media Group. But for the purpose of this podcast, I am your health and happiness matchmaker. Now, before I introduce you to today's guest, you know what I'm going to ask you to do. Hit subscribe on YouTube and turn on those notifications, and also connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to stay connected with you. Today, you're going to meet someone whose story is honestly difficult to hear. Her name is Iliana Perez-Ruiz, and I've actually known her for several years. But during the pandemic, she faced some of life's greatest challenges, from losing her job, going through a divorce, and then finding out that she had a rare form of ovarian cancer. And through it all, she built a business. Our physical, mental, and emotional health is not just a want. It is a need for happy lives and prosperous businesses. Lift You Up is the podcast where we share inspiring health stories from business owners who are fulfilling their purpose to live their healthiest lives and helping you do the same. From former TV reporter to marketing entrepreneur and content creator, I care about sharing stories that matter and stories that connect us. I'm your host, Tamika Bickham, your health and wellness matchmaker. Well, today I am so excited to be joined by Iliana Perez-Ruiz, and she is the founder of Oh My Pavlova. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Tamika.
I did that introduction as if we don't know each other. But we do, and it's good to see you because it's been probably at least a year.
Pre-COVID, yeah, pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot has happened in your life. But before we kind of turn back and share your story, which I'm really excited for you to share with everyone, tell me, kind of bring everybody up to speed. What is Oh My Pavlova? And tell me about what you do right now.
So Oh My Pavlova is my bakery, and I make these cakes called pavlovas. The first layer is a thin layer of meringue. The second layer is either Nutella or dulce de leche. The third is a homemade whipped cream. And the fourth is the strawberries topped all over. It's beautiful. It's a work of art. Not just beautiful, but it's delicious.
So a bakery, and now you have a booming business, right? Like the time of us recording this, I'm trying to catch up with you because you're in traffic, making deliveries, getting blown up with calls. You've been able to grow a business in the midst of this pandemic, as well as so many other things going on in your life. Take us through the story of how you got to growing a business during this time through significant personal life and health challenges.
So about a year and a half ago, here's the part that only people that are really close to me know. My marriage ended suddenly. We had been together for 21 years and married for 17. And it just fell apart. And it was really hard to suddenly become a single mom and figure things out on my own. And then lo and behold comes COVID last March, about a year ago. So, during that time, I was working from home, so was my daughter, and we decided, because we had a lot of downtime and she was here alone and bored, that we would bake these pavlovas that we used to make for fun and for special occasions. I had always bought her that cake for years, for every single one of her birthdays. And we found the recipe, made it, and I was like, wow, it tastes pretty good and looks pretty good. And so I said, why don't we, just start making these and see what happens, open an Instagram, let's get some stickers and, cards and whatever, we'll see what happens, So we started doing that from our house during COVID. And little by little, it started picking up.
Now, where were you working at? Where were you working at the time? Because you were working a full-time job?
Yes. So
okay.
I had been working in the insurance industry for over 20 years. I worked in insurance, commercial insurance, and I managed accounts for people that actually have multiple franchises. So they'll have like 30 Burger Kings or, so I think I was at the pinnacle of my insurance career. I got to the best company. The position I always wanted, working in the hospitality group. It was the most successful and fast growing group. And here I was, inundated 300 emails deep, going crazy at work, very stressed out. And I was working from home. They sent us all home. So I was doing that. My daughter was doing the cakes. And suddenly I lose my job, due to COVID. And I was on the hospitality team. So we were affected a lot. I was lucky enough to find another job right away in the same field, but not to the caliber that I was used to, but it was something. And I kept making my cakes on the side, which was amazing. And then, it was just working out like that between my daughter and I making the cakes from home.
So tell me about when the switch happened from
Mhm.
making cakes at home to where you are now. Is it something that just grew through Instagram? How did things pick up in the way that they have?
We started getting really popular on Instagram. I've been blessed to have a lot of good connections in my circle who have really helped me branch out and who helped me grow on Instagram by exposing me and just working, collaborating with other people and having a whole new group of people trying my desserts. Because usually, it was just a lot of people that live like in Key Biscayne, that have access to one bakery that's over there that's super popular, people in those areas. But then I started exposing myself to a whole other area like Hialeah, Miami Lakes, and people have never heard of this dessert and they were trying it for the first time and they were like, what is this? Like, what is this strawberry cake? So, I've reached out to a whole new culture, um, of people that now know what the dessert is and they are hooked. All it takes is trying it one time. So that really helped me grow. And yes, just Instagram. That's all it's really been, just Instagram.
As you're traveling through this journey during a pandemic, you mentioned having recently gone through a divorce. You mentioned losing your longtime job as well, due to the pandemic. But the other thing that you also face that you haven't mentioned yet is cancer.
Right. So as if things weren't bad enough. Yeah. So March was, pandemic lockup. Then May was lost my job. Um, all that while going through the divorce. And then early July, uh, I got diagnosed with stage 1 ovarian cancer. Um, so basically, I mean, that literally puts a hold on your life. It's like press the pause button. So everything had to stop and take the back seat. I was having what women get every month, a little bit of menstrual cramps, and that's what I thought it was. I was just like, oh, I was feeling kind of like crampy and sore in my lower abdomen. So I decided to self-examine myself, um, and I dug a little deeper into my abdomen while I was like rubbing my belly, and I feel a lump and it was big. And I said, is that my ovary or is that an organ that, I've never felt that because I've never, you touch your belly, but you don't press into it usually.
Right.
Which we should all be doing, by the way. Just like you do it to your breast, we should be doing it to our ovaries as well. Um, so I felt that and I was like, what is this? And I did notice that I was kind of bloated in my lower abdomen. But you just think like, well, I need to lose like 15 pounds, so that's why,
Right, right.
But
What
I never, sorry, I never thought that it would be because something's growing in there.
right. What was it that made you think from the cramping that, hey, I have to dig a little bit deeper into this?
I started noticing that when I was going to the bathroom to urinate, when I'd empty, my bladder it would hurt or something. It was like this contraction in there, and it was just weird, a sensation I had never felt. So I went to ER, and they did an ultrasound, and I could tell from her face that something was wrong. They kept asking me, "You don't have pain? Are you sure you don't have pain?" And I kept saying, "I have no pain." But I could tell from the movement that she was doing that she was looking at something. She was looking at whatever was in there because she was tracing it. And so they came back to me and they said that it was highly suspicious of neoplasty. I didn't even know what the word neoplasty is. So that means cancer. When the doctor came in, she goes, "That means cancer. So you need to see your doctor tomorrow." So of course I'm freaking out. My kids are at home waiting for me, and I get home just like bawling. Like I was just destroyed and so scared, and my kids were like, "What's going on?" So it was really difficult to tell them or what to tell them, because what if it's not cancer? You don't want to freak out your two kids.
Right.
A friend of mine, good friend of mine, who's a doctor in Baptist Hospital. She's a hospitalist there. She had me admitted, which was right during COVID, when you can't even walk into a hospital with somebody. I mean, it's, only if you're really sick should you be going and can you be going. So she said, "I don't like this, and you need to get this out now. Let's get this out." So I went to the hospital. They ran all kinds of tests, and I waited for my surgery. So within 4 days of my ER visit, I had the tumor removed. They went in and they took out, I had a 13 centimeter mass in my ovary. And when I got out of surgery, they said, "Well, we're going to take it to biopsy, but it looks like it's what's called a borderline tumor, which means it was almost cancer." But those were the initial biopsy that they do right there in the hospital. So they had to send it out. So in the meantime, I'm waiting, but you always think positive, and you're like, it's just like something, and it's out, and everything's going to be fine. They just took that ovary out and my fallopian tube from the left side, and I just waited for the doctor to get back to me. So it took about 3 weeks.
Okay. And when they got back to you?
All the doctors at Miami Cancer Institute were going to have a meeting about my case, if that was okay with me. And I was like,
Is that normal?
Yeah, I was like, well, maybe they want to make sure, since it's a borderline tumor, before they tell me, they give me a green light. They want to make sure that I have a full green light. That's what I'm thinking. But then I'm like, why am I so special? And I'm just like, confused. Then they call me and they're like, "We have to send it out to another lab." And I'm like, okay, at this point, it's 3 labs. I'm really confused. So,
and just the waiting, I'm sure you're anxious. Like, yeah, what's going on?
I thought I was all good. I really did. I thought, okay, that's it. It's out. So, the doctor tells me that it's cancer, and it's a very rare cancer. There's only 32 cases recorded in the world, and there's only 1 study out. Actually, sorry, there's 2 studies out. And they're like in Japan, and he was like, this is the name of it. It's tough because there's not enough studies for us to know the exact path. But all the doctors spoke, they got together, and they decided what my treatment should be. So they said, "We recommend that you have what's called a radical hysterectomy." So they wanted to go in me again. I wasn't even healed from the first surgery. and they were gonna reopen me and take out my other ovary, my uterus, my cervix, my appendix, omentum, and lymph nodes, upper and lower. And they said, we want to do more biopsies. We want to do this, and then you're going to need chemo also. And I was just like, but I thought I don't have cancer. Didn't you take it out? They're like, yeah, like technically you don't, but we were being aggressive, and we want to give you some preventative too. So we want to do 6 chemos. And I was just like,
What?
I was like, oh my God, this is not happening right now.
And is that because of the rarity of this type
Well,
of cancer?
so I didn't know what stage I was in yet because they had only taken out that one ovary. So after this surgery is when they were going to tell me, okay, this is your stage. You're in stage 1 or 2 or whatever. And then they'll, see what I look like in there and decide on what type of chemo. So when she went in, she goes, it looks clean in there. It looks really clean. I did a lot of biopsies, and I took out everything that I could. And she said, so I'm going to stick to 6 chemos, because we want to make sure that there's nothing microscopic floating around in you, because they did take it out. And many times during surgery, these big tumors, not explode, they just open up, and there could be some leakage. So it was more like a preventative thing to make sure that they get anything floating in there. So I had to just accept it, and say, this is my life. This is what's going to happen now. And I just have to do it.
Did you ever have a moment where you thought, why me?
Girl, a moment. More like, I think I'm just starting to understand it, or like be okay with it and trust the process. But it was a daily thing for me. I mean, there were nights, so many nights, I just couldn't sleep. And I would just literally be there. Why? Like, why everything? Why me? Why now? What does this mean? Where is this going to lead me to? What do I have to learn from this? And really, it was all that time by myself, because not only did I go through chemo, but COVID. So it really changes things, because you can't have all the support that you have. So you even have to be careful having your own mom and dad taking care of you, because they have a life too, and they have to go to the grocery stores too, and they have to live, but then they're trying to take care of you, and your immune system is extremely weak. So I spent a lot of time alone. If it were regular times pre-COVID, I'd have 20 friends at my house at a time, making food for me, making me laugh, just sitting on the couch. But I couldn't do that. So it made it even worse, because you're super lonely. You can't do anything. So it gives you a lot of time to focus on yourself, and learn to be alone also, and be okay with it, and just like soul sleep.
I I mean, I got chills hearing your story, That's
You literally
hard. It's just like
pause.
one thing after the other, after the other, after the other. Like,
You gotta press pause on your life. Nothing else matters. I couldn't work, so the only thing that I had, that I said, okay, well, the business seems to be speeding up. I guess when I feel
as you're
good
going through
through chemo, surgeries, I mean, there was a time that I had to completely stop. So I said, okay, what do I do now?
Right.
Do I stop the business, or I can just be honest and say, listen, I'm sorry, we have to slow things down because I'm going through this. I appreciate your patience and working with me. And everybody was actually super supportive. So I had to stop, but then when I recovered from the surgeries and I'd be going through chemo, I'd get bad from chemo for like a week. And as soon as I was done, I'd start working again. But it was actually a blessing in disguise because when you're going through that, it's a lot of mental, and it helped my mind go somewhere else because there's days that your mind is it's going nuts and you're having really weird thoughts, things you'd never think that you would think, and you can get depressed really easily.
Hmm.
So even though it was hard for me to work so hard during that time, mentally it was good for me because my mind was on something else
Right.
the whole time.
Absolutely. No, I could see how much that could help because it's a positive distraction. And I'm sure it was something like a way that you could funnel your energy into something that you love.
Exactly. And it
So,
was it was cool. And you make people happy doing this. So
yeah, because
it's
the pavlovas, your pavlovas are top notch. So you're going through all of this. The business is picking up. Tell me where the business is now.
I unexpectedly had to stop chemo after my fifth. I didn't even get to my sixth because after the fifth, it almost destroyed me. I mean, I was so weak, I couldn't even walk. I could not walk, and I was destroyed. So I called my doctor a few days after the last chemo because I wasn't recovering the same as the ones before. And I was like,
What does that mean?
well, the ones before I bounced back within like a week. But what happens with chemo is that it's cumulative in your body. And the more chemo you give your body, the worse you start getting. You start getting weaker and weaker and weaker. So it seems like the fifth was my, that's it. You need to stop. So I had to be hospitalized. I became what's called neutropenic, which is when your white blood cells, they get so low that you can't be exposed to anything because you'll get an infection for anything. So when I got to the hospital, I was actually developing a small kidney infection. Luckily, I got there very fast, and I had to get treated. And once I left from the hospital, a couple days later, 5 days later, I recovered a little more at home. And about a week after, I said, okay, I feel a little better. So it was little by little. It was very hard on me, very hard on my body. But I didn't want to lose it because I saw that I had something really good here.
With the
So
pavlovas.
yes, I said I can't let this go. I said, okay, either I'm gonna go back to corporate life, right, hating life, or I can pursue this 100%, which is what I really love, and make people happy all day. I'm gonna work a lot, but it's something that is mine, and it's different when you're doing it for yourself and you're seeing growth. So I said, okay, here I go. So I, started going full throttle. Then I said, okay, I need help. So I hired one person to help me. And then I was like, okay, I think I need more help. And then it was just so crazy that I was like, I need to figure something out because I can't keep baking in my little kitchen oven.
And that's what I was going to ask. Were you still doing this in your kitchen at this time?
I was still doing it in my kitchen. And then I was featured on Only in Dade. And once that happened, and they did a great story on me. I was in their offices. I did custom cakes for them. My friends were there, and I said my story. They featured me on their feed, on their page, and on their story. It was really cool, and I gained like 1,000 followers from that, and so much support, so many survivors. So it was cool for us to talk about our experiences, and because we can relate to each other, and it's something that only a person that has gone through cancer can explain. So that happened just a couple weeks ago, and that was what pushed me to say I need to make a move. I started exploring different things. Either I'll move into a big house with a big kitchen and buy oven, or should I get a storefront, or should I? So I have a lot of resources, and luckily I know a girl named Cynthia that owns her own bakery. She is the neighbor of one of my best friends. My best friend's business is right next door to her. So I've been going there for a couple years and I know Cynthia. So I decided to reach out to Cynthia to see if she wanted to rent me some space in her bakery. She has a very nice place. And she was like, yeah, she wanted to help me. And we worked out a great deal. So I have a full blown kitchen. I have everything I need and then some. It's in Doral. It's called E&M Suites. So I work from her kitchen and it's a pickup location for for me right now. So people still order through me and I just give them the orders there. So it's not like my storefront, but it's a step toward getting my own. You know, I'm growing. I'm growing at a fast pace right now. But I'm trying to do it little by little and I'll get there. I'll get there for sure.
Absolutely. It's just one step at a time. You know, it's kind of that balancing act, I feel like, of wanting to grow, but maybe not too fast, right? So you can handle it little by little.
There's too many logistics to growing too fast. And I have to be prepared for the volume that's coming to me. Training people is pretty hard. And I've realized from training people that it's not something that everybody can do. There's actually an art involved in placing all the strawberries. But I've been really lucky with the people that I do have next to me, working with me right now. And it's such a good environment, so positive. We work so well. We have so much fun. And
Mm-hmm.
I can't even explain to you right now how happy I am and like good in my life and happy with myself. And it's like this, I wake up every day just happy and having fun and like grateful and like everything is awesome. And it's really cool. It's really cool, honestly.
That's great. I
Mhm.
mean, honestly, especially you deserve that more than anyone, really, to be happy.
Thanks.
Given everything that you have faced and being able to build a business in the midst of a pandemic and all of these things you faced in your personal life, how is there a happiness tip, like something that kept you going, that you implemented in your life, like especially during those days that you mentioned, like, hey, those why me moments, because it's inevitable that you're going to get down and or depressed, but what were the things that maybe helped keep your spirits lifted?
It's the hardest thing to do because when you're going through so much negativity, telling your mind that you're not and having faith that there's something bigger and better, even though all you see is dark, it's really hard to do. You literally have to work on it so much to psych your brain out and to shift what you're thinking. You know what I mean? When you start having those bad thoughts, you have to say no and then think good thoughts and have vision and visualize what you want to happen in your life
Hmm.
and have faith in the unseen and knowing that you're going to endure some pain. Everybody is at some point in their life, but it's going to get better. And it's the hardest thing to do to visualize that when you are like, no,
You're like, I don't even see this, like I'm in the dark,
exactly,
I'm just feeling around right now.
exactly. But I tried my best to do that. You know, I kept my faith. I prayed a lot and just knowing that there was going to be a better day. There's going to be a better day. Something's going to happen. Something good is going to come out of it.
And so you are 100% cancer free.
Yeah, so my last scan, it was all good. I have another one this week coming up, and when you go through cancer, unfortunately, that it becomes part of your life. You always have to get checked up, whether it be every 6 months to a year. So I'm gonna have another one now, and I know everything's gonna be fine.
Absolutely.
Uh, I got it, like I said, I got it very early. I caught it very early, stage one, no spread. And I'm super positive that the chemo did its job. I mean, it almost killed my good cells too, but I'm sure it did its job. And, you know, every day is a better day. Now, I do want to mention, and I'd like to also bring some awareness to our female watchers, viewers here, because ovarian cancer is known as the silent killer, and it's very scary. I didn't know this. So I think I'm very fortunate to be sitting here when only 10% of all ovarian cancer diagnoses come are stage one. So only 10% are discovered while on stage one. Usually when you discover ovarian cancer, it's because you're feeling sick from it and you're already at a stage 3 or a stage 4 and you're having way more severe symptoms. So I'd like to just share some symptoms to look for, which it's a little difficult because we all get these symptoms, but when it's persistent, just go self-examine your lower abdominal area where your ovaries are. Just go a little deeper in there and feel for lumps, because I've already spoken to about 2 or 3 people that discovered it the same way that I did. So just like you do to your breasts, do it to your ovaries as well. If you have any abnormal bloating, belly pain that is persistent, trouble eating or feeling full quickly, and the urinary problems. If you have urgency to go, or if you have pain when you go, which is what happened to me. It became so big that I felt like I had to go all the time, all the time, all the time. And then it was kind of painful when I would go urinate. So look at all those things because it cannot be detected on a pap smear. So a lot of women don't know that. So, I if I can save at least one person by any tips that I give them, that would be amazing, amazing, because not enough women know that it's called the silent killer. You just think you go to your yearly to your doctor
Right.
every year and you're good. Check, 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 everything's okay, but not for ovarian cancer.
Thanks for sharing that. I'll make sure to include that information below. It's so important to know, and I didn't realize that that is considered the silent killer. So really important
Mhm.
information. Thank you, Iliana. Tell everybody how they can find you, connect with you, learn more about you, whether
Mhm.
they are maybe recently going through a cancer diagnosis or a survivor, or want to try your pavlova.
Either or, I love connecting with people who um, have been through similar experiences like mine. And I'm all about supporting and helping other women in any way that I can, even if it's inspiring, if it's bringing awareness, whatever it is. They can reach me either at my phone number, which is 786-537-5779. You can call or text. You can also reach me on my Instagram page. My business Instagram page for Oh My Pavlova is O, which is OH, my Pavlova, which is Pavlova. So it's Oh My Pavlova. And you can send me a direct message. Most of my orders are through there. If you just want to talk or send me a text, or you need support, you need someone to talk to, you need advice, please don't hesitate to call me, to text me. You can also email me at ohmypavlova@gmail.com. So if it's to place an order or just to talk or anything, you can reach me through any of those ways. It doesn't really matter.
Well, thank you, Iliana, for that and for sharing your story so openly, as well as offering to be a support to other people and for being an inspiration, because all that you have accomplished, despite everything else going on in your life, is a true testament to your character, your work ethic, and your willingness to just try to find the light in a time of darkness. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Hard work definitely, it pays off. So if you're trying to pursue anything, just keep working toward it. That's all I can tell somebody. Just keep on, because hard work will always be recompensed. You'll see it. You'll see it, and it'll happen. Thanks for having me so much, Tamika.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed hearing Iliana's story, even though sometimes stories like that can be difficult to hear. It's just a reminder that you never know what somebody else is going through. And also that even as tough as things can get, there is always light on the other side. And I really feel like that was the message that Iliana shared. I loved how she was able to build a business throughout some of the greatest challenges of her life. And you know what? That means you could do it too. And just incorporating some positive thinking and staying focused on what's on the other side can help you get there as well. So make sure to connect with her, whether it's for support or, of course, to try her pavlovas as well. They're really, really good. So all of her information is below in the show notes. Don't wait. And make sure you connect with me too. I am on all the places: LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course right here on YouTube if you're watching this. And so make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, connect with me, and that means you'll be notified next week when we're back with another episode. So until then, stay happy, stay healthy.